Okay. How do you assess the current situation in Jerusalem?
You are witnessing a process of changing the status quo since the Ottomans, the British, the Jordanians, the early days of Israeli occupation. No changes of the status quo of the holy sites. Even Dayan in 1967 will not allow Chief Rabbi Goren to establish a synagogue next to the Wailing Wall. Today, there is a completely change of the status quo. There is a change of the Wailing Wall. There is continuous attack on the holy site in terms of time and place and people. And this reflected in the anger and the frustration of the Palestinian society. And that's why you come to see on daily basis such kind of confrontation between youth people in different neighborhoods without a leadership, without an agenda, facing and challenging the atrocities of the Israeli army. On the other hand, you find Israeli government, Israeli municipality, Israeli political parties, even Israeli Knesset planning openly to change the status quo by their claimed law on control over the site. And you are witnessing now for the first time, following the step of Sharon of September 2000, everybody wants to show his muscles, his visible presence on the holy site. The mayor of Jerusalem today, for example, he entered the site early morning to tell people, I'm here too. Yesterday, the Palestinian Authority, with so many coordination under the sun with New York and Washington and London and Tel Aviv, managed to allow the Prime Minister of Palestine with his cabinet 5 members to come and visit the site. Last week, European Union came to visit the site. The earlier before, United Nations came to visit the site. Now the site, as a holy place, it's a Muslim site. It's a Muslim property. And in Israelis, you have different 3 schools. One school, which is now, unfortunately, only 10% of the religious people, claiming, don't enter the site. Respect, accept, maintain the status quo of the site. The others are going to say, we want to share it now and by force. And this is what makes Jerusalem today on the top of the agenda. A poor city, isolated city, divided city, polarized city, and on the top of that, religion moved in to move everybody in the city and surrounding the city.
So when you say the youth that have no clear agenda are acting up, so that's not in line with what you're saying about, the changes in the status quo. So basically there are 2 reasons that you're describing here for this tension that we're seeing, or you connect between the 2?
Well, it started definitely in last Ramadan, when the Israelis started closing the city and not allowing Muslims to pray in the site and coming with new laws and new regulation. If you are under 50, you are not allowed in. The youth started praying in the street. And I tell you with full confidence, most of these young people are not religious at all, but they identify with the place, identify with Islam, and reflected their attitude in national pride to pray in the streets on Fridays. And this is another message to the Israelis. If you look on the region, you find Jordan as a custodian on the holy site, have been calling on the Israelis on all levels. Wake up, guys. This is changing the status quo. This is violation of the Jordanian-Israeli peace treaty. Now, we witnessed 20 years of the peace treaty, never happened before. Why now? Because Netanyahu wants to stay in office. Netanyahu wants to have a balance with different parties and different relationships to keep him in office and to delay election as much as he can. So it is a political maneuver from Netanyahu. It is hijacked by religious groups and reflected on the isolated Palestinians in the big prison.
Is this the beginning of an intifada, which is what some people believe and others don't? What do you think?
Well, if we agree that it is a divided city, occupied city, polarized city, and if you agree that we are living in different neighborhoods, and you have agreed there is no strategy, there is no leadership, and there is no agenda, you find reflection of this youth. Intifada in its concept needs leadership, needs a political program, needs networking, needs funding, and needs confidence. Now these people are acting on their own in different neighborhoods. And that's why you feel the chaos all over. You cannot drive your city normally. On the top of that, which is more serious and more dangerous, there is a culture of fear hunting everyone in Jerusalem. You don't know what will happen to you. A car accident, a bullet, a stone, Anything can happen to you any place, even kidnapping young people. We witness Israeli settlers kidnapping Palestinians in Sheikh Jarrah and killing them alive and claiming we have the right to revenge in blood. So if you see the culture of revenge in blood, and if you see the culture of fear hunting everyone in the city, and you come to see there is no leadership responsible enough in Israel to realize this is taking us, all of us, with no exception, to the line of religious confrontation and religious war, which nobody wants it because it's a dead end.
So basically you're saying this uprising or tension is isolated to Jerusalem. It won't spread into other areas, say the West Bank?
Well, it depends how far the Israelis are going with this changing the status quo. I just learned that some chief rabbis are coming with a clear statement telling the Israeli public, respect, accept, maintain the status quo. There is a majority among Israeli people are very much aware of this, so it is left for these fundamentalist hardliners who are hijacking the future of Jerusalem and the future of all Israelis. So it depends on the Israeli decision, Israeli political will to halt this kind of process of changing the status quo. On the other hand, we come to see the international community, a call for United Nations Security Council to meet. Jordanian is asking for it, Palestinian are asking for him, Europeans are concerned about it. So it needs some action now before it's too late. To spread it around meaning two things, for sure. Political Islam at the crossroads. If people are failing in their agenda wherever they are, name it, Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, Yemen, Libya, Egypt, Gaza, they will look back to Jerusalem. Exactly like it happened with Bin Laden. Bin Laden hijacked Islam and used Jerusalem and Hebron at the last minute in September 11. He never mentioned Jerusalem. He never paid attention to what happened in Jerusalem. But when he came at the crossroads, facing his destiny, he used Jerusalem. And I claim these people, wherever they are, they will look now to the question of Jerusalem, which will reflect a future enemy. You are my enemy, and I have to deal with you in the concept of enemy, not a neighbor, not a friend, and not a court of reconciliation and recognition or normalization. So you started witnessing demonstrations in the street of Nablus, in Jenin, Tulkarem, all over the West Bank, on the call of Al-Aqsa Mosque, the holy places, that there should not be any excuse for changing the status quo.
But you think there's a chance that it'll escalate further than demonstration?
Well, the escalation, you can feel it because of fear and mistrust and lack of leadership. But what is really needed from my perspective is a political will from the Israeli officials to hold this uncertainty.
So how, if you had to, give a scenario for how this develops or ends, what do you see in the coming weeks and months?
We will continue bleeding wound in Jerusalem because Israeli laws are imposed on us in terms of movement of people, movement of goods, identity, residency, housing, health. We have been treated as second-class citizens if there is a citizenship. There is residency rights under Israeli law. And this definitely reached a point where the youth people, and I'm telling you, 60% of our society in Jerusalem are the youth people who are telling you clearly, I want to become a martyr. Why Abu Khdeir is a martyr? Why Sunnokraт is a martyr? I'm willing to die for the cause. I have no future. Everything is black, closed, and no future whatsoever. So let me face the uncertainty with the Israelis. And the Israelis are facing it with hard fist, with closure, with arrest, and with beating. Imagine you enter your house early morning at 4 o'clock and arrest your child.
I have some sound problems. I didn't know.
Another problem, no batteries? نفس المشكلة عنده؟
Sound problem.
I cannot repeat anything. Big fear.
No.
Just, I'll ask the question again, and the last one, and that's it. How do you see this developing or ending in the coming weeks and months?
You have three scenarios. Scenario one, it's an endless conflict because of occupation. ايش في عندك شغلات؟ سرقت تليفون؟
Again.
The first possibility, as you see it, it's an endless conflict because of 47 years of occupation, because of Israeli obsession of land and control, expansionist, and the Israeli Minister of Defense is saying you will face only autonomy. You will never ever enjoy independence, sovereignty, or statehood. And this is a dead end. The second scenario, the interference of the international community to halt Israeli measures and is changing the status quo. And the third one, definitely within the Israeli society, the future of Netanyahu and his government, and the crisis within Israeli leadership about what Israel they would like to see. The door has been opened widely for normalization, for recognition, especially after political Islam is at the crossroads, and what we are witnessing in Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Libya, Egypt, etc. So it's up to the Israelis to realize they would like to continue to live in a military ghetto. Everybody is the enemy and they have to control and to enjoy their control within that culture of the prison, or they have to open up to become a normal state, not an expansionist state, and recognize the Palestinian rights and stop their atrocities and changing the status quo in the Holy Mosque of Al-Aqsa.
Okay. Thank you very much.
This is to China.